Did you know that over 13 million automatic transmissions fail each year worldwide? And a huge number of those start with one overlooked component, the torque converter? Replacing a failed transmission can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000. But catching the signs early could save you thousands. In this video, we're breaking down 11 hidden symptoms of a bad torque converter that most drivers miss. You'll want to stick around for the final symptom, because that one catches most drivers off guard and can leave you stranded without warning. But first, what's a torque converter? A torque converter is a round, sealed metal component located between the engine and the transmission in vehicles with automatic transmissions. It's mounted to the engine's flex plate and enclosed within the transmission bell housing. And what does it do? The torque converter transfers power from the engine to the transmission using fluid instead of a mechanical connection. It allows your car to keep running when you're stopped and helps it move smoothly when you press the gas. It also multiplies engine torque, making it easier to get the car moving from a standstill. But when it starts to go bad, the effects ripple through your entire transmission. Let's start with the first warning sign you should never ignore. Symptom 1. Shuddering or vibration. You're cruising at a steady speed when suddenly your car begins to vibrate like you're riding over rumble strips. You might think it's your tires. No, it's likely the torque converter. Shuddering usually occurs during torque converter clutch engagement, around 30 to 45 miles per hour. When the internal clutch begins to wear or malfunction, it fails to engage or disengage smoothly, causing your car to shake as the power transfer becomes erratic. If ignored, the internal damage gets worse, affecting the transmission itself. Catching the issue early can mean a simple torque converter replacement instead of a full transmission rebuild. Always pay attention to how your car feels. Shuddering isn't just uncomfortable, it's a warning signal. Symptom 2. Transmission overheating. Transmission fluid running too hot is never a good sign, and a bad torque converter could be the cause. The converter helps regulate fluid movement, and when it fails to circulate it properly, either due to a slipping clutch or restricted flow, friction builds up. This causes the fluid temperature to rise, sometimes triggering a warning light on your dash, or causing the vehicle to enter limp mode. Overheating can be especially dangerous because it doesn't just damage the torque converter, it cooks the entire transmission. At around 250 degrees Fahrenheit, the transmission fluid starts to break down, losing its ability to lubricate and cool components. This can lead to premature wear of clutches, seals, and bearings. If your transmission seems unusually hot to the touch, or you smell burnt fluid, don't wait. An overheating transmission is a ticking time bomb. Fixing a bad torque converter now is far cheaper than replacing an entire transmission later. Symptom 3. Transmission slipping. You hit the gas, your engine roars, but your car barely moves. That's not just annoying, it's classic transmission slipping. And one of the main culprits? A worn-out torque converter struggling to keep hydraulic pressure where it should be. When the converter's turbine, stator, or clutch begins to fail, power doesn't reach the wheels, it vanishes. Low transmission fluid, overheating, or worn clutch plates inside the converter can all trigger this slip. The result? Sudden surges, delayed acceleration, and RPMs climbing with no payoff. It's power loss in disguise. Each slip adds heat, stress, and damage, accelerating wear inside your transmission. Ignore it, and you're on the fast lane to a full-blown failure. But slipping isn't the only red flag. What if your car's trouble starts when you're not even in motion? Let's take a closer look. Symptom 4. Check engine light on. When the torque converter starts to fail, the first warning might not be a sound or a shake. It could be your check engine light. Scan the system, and you might see codes like P0740, P0741, P0742, P0743, P0744, P2769, or P0770. These point to Torque converter clutch issues, ranging from electrical faults to stuck engagement or pressure problems. They may look like random numbers, but they're serious early warnings. Ignore them, and what starts as a minor fault can lead to complete transmission failure. Catch them early, and you've got a chance to fix a single part before it takes out the entire system. The light's on for a reason. Listen before the damage gets worse. Symptom 5. Transmission fluid leaks. A red or brown puddle under the car is more than a mess. It's a warning sign. Transmission fluid leaks are often linked to failing seals inside the Torque converter. As those seals wear or crack, fluid begins to escape, slowly starving the system of the pressure it needs to function properly. Without that pressure, gear shifts become rough, temperatures rise, and internal stress builds with every drive. It may not fail immediately, but make no mistake, a small leak is the start of a much bigger problem. That harmless-looking drip can turn into major damage, turning smooth drives into jerky, overheated chaos. Left unchecked, the converter runs dry, and when it does, the wheels stop turning. Before we dive into the next symptoms, the ones that can burn a hole in your wallet, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. It's the easiest way to stay one step ahead of car trouble and keep your ride running strong. Symptom 6. Unusual transmission noise. When the torque converter goes bad, your car may start making unusual noises. Whining, grinding, or even a soft rattling when in gear. These sounds often come from worn bearings, loose internal parts, or damaged clutch plates inside the converter, and they tend to grow louder as the problem worsens. Normally, the fluid inside cushions these parts and keeps things running quietly. But when that system fails, metal components begin to clash, creating a soundtrack of internal damage. Many drivers shrug off the noise, thinking it's just the engine or exhaust. That mistake can be costly. These sounds are your car's way of crying out for help. Symptom 7. Rough or harsh transmission. When the Torque converter isn't doing its job, the rest of the transmission feels the pressure. One of the most jarring symptoms is a rough or harsh drive feel, especially when changing gears. This happens because the Torque converter, which normally cushions gear shifts with smooth hydraulic flow, begins to deliver inconsistent or delayed pressure. Without that buffer, every shift feels like a jolt, and your transmission becomes clunky, aggressive, and unpredictable. Instead of gliding through gears, the vehicle may buck, surge, or hesitate. It's not just uncomfortable, it's harmful. These harsh transitions strain gears, mounts, and the drive shaft, wearing them down over time. What begins as rough shifting can snowball into bigger mechanical issues. And when things start shaking, it's often followed by something even more telling. Something you might hear before you feel. Symptom 8. Rough idling. Your car shouldn't feel like it's coughing and sputtering at a stoplight. Rough idling is often overlooked, but it can indicate Torque converter trouble, specifically a malfunctioning lockup clutch. When working correctly, this clutch disengages at idle to prevent engine stalling. But if it stays engaged, it creates drag on the engine, making it idle roughly or even stall out. You might also notice a drop in RPMs or vibrations when stopped. This is your Torque converter failing to release its grip. It forces the engine to work against the transmission, even when the car should be coasting or idling. While it may not seem severe, rough idling caused by Torque converter issues can quickly escalate. If your engine is fighting against a locked converter, the strain will shorten its lifespan and make driving in traffic a nerve-wracking experience. And the real cost? You'll start noticing it where it hurts most. Let's keep going. Symptom 9. Dirty transmission fluid. Pop the hood, pull the dipstick, and instead of clean red fluid, there it is. Dark, brown, and burnt. Transmission fluid is your car's lifeblood, and when it looks like that, something's wrong. A failing torque converter can cause this by breaking down internally, releasing tiny bits of clutch material and debris into the system. This dirty fluid can't do its job. It loses pressure, can't cool or lubricate properly, and starts spreading damage through the whole transmission. What starts as a small issue inside the converter can quickly snowball into a major repair. That's why checking your fluid isn't just maintenance, it's early warning. And if it's already dirty, bigger problems may already be in motion. Symptom 10. Delayed gear shifting. When you shift into drive or reverse and there's a pause, just a few seconds that feel like forever, you're experiencing delayed gear engagement. This delay is a sign that the torque converter isn't building enough pressure to engage the transmission quickly. Instead of fluid flowing smoothly to create movement, it lags, leaving your car confused and unresponsive. That hesitation might only happen occasionally at first, especially when your car is cold. But as the converter continues to wear, the delays become longer and more frequent. It's especially dangerous when trying to pull out into traffic or back out of tight spots where every second matters. Symptom 11. Rough or sluggish acceleration. A failing torque converter can make acceleration feel weak and unresponsive. Instead of smoothly transferring power from the engine to the wheels, it hesitates or slips, causing sluggish performance. The result is poor throttle response and delayed movement, especially when you need quick power. This is most noticeable when pulling away from a stop, climbing hills, or overtaking. The engine revs, but the car lags behind. Over time, this strain increases fuel consumption and wears down critical parts. How to test the torque converter? If you've noticed any of the warning signs we've covered, here are 3 quick and effective tests to help confirm whether the torque converter is truly to blame. First, transmission fluid check. Start with the basics. With the engine running and the transmission in park, check the transmission fluid level and condition. If it's dark, burnt smelling, or low, the torque converter may be overheating or leaking. Second, stall speed test. This test should be performed briefly to avoid damage. Engage the parking brake and press the brake pedal firmly. Shift into drive. Press the accelerator fully for 2 to 3 seconds, no more. Watch the RPMs. If the RPMs don't reach your vehicle's stall speed, usually 2,000 to 2,800 RPM, your torque converter may not be transferring power properly. Third, torque converter shudder test. Drive at a steady speed, around 30 to 45 miles per hour. Lightly press the brake with your left foot while maintaining throttle. If you feel vibrations or shuddering, the torque converter clutch might be slipping or failing to lock up correctly. How much does it cost to replace a torque converter? The cost to replace a torque converter typically ranges from $600 to $1,200, depending on your vehicle's make, model, and location. The part itself can cost $200 to $500, depending on whether it's new or remanufactured. Labor is a major factor, often adding $400 to $700 due to the need to remove the transmission. Prices may vary, so it's best to get a detailed quote from a qualified mechanic for your specific vehicle. We just explored the critical symptoms of a bad torque converter. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button for more expert car care tips. Got questions or your own car story to share? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you're experiencing. And to keep your engine in top shape, watch the symptoms of a bad crankshaft position sensor next.